Hi, I'm Jim Moreau, and today I'm going to be talking about the relevance of the Second Amendment. Since the implementation of the Bill of Rights, the Second Amendment has been a pillar of the United States of America and has become a reason for a great divide within the country. The Second Amendment states that the people of the United States have the right to a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This was added to the Bill of Rights because the government deemed that the people should have the power to revolt against the government in the case that all else fails and the government becomes overbearing. Currently, the Second Amendment is a polarizing issue between the political parties and the populace, as some believe that firearms should be heavily restricted and regulated. In contrast, some Americans believe that the Second Amendment is very important because it protects all the other amendments along with the people themselves. On October 6, 2021, at Mansfield Timberview High School in Arlington, Texas, a gunman opened fire at a high school, injuring 4, with 2 in critical condition. A New York Post article continues to detail how Timothy Simpkins opened fire after an altercation at school before being apprehended by authorities. This incident and many others of the same sort have happened in much more recent American history with historical shootings. A CNN article takes a strong stance and states that within the last 10 years, there's been 180 school shootings claiming 356 victims. These tragedies, along with continued gun violence in America as a whole, motivate many to demand the government to restrict the sale and possession of firearms of all sorts in the United States. The U.S. Supreme Court is currently handling a case from the state of New York, one that pertains to the implementation of the Second Amendment. U.S. News goes into depth on the story, explaining how the Supreme Court is ruling that New York gun laws pertaining to the concealed carry permit, along with the process to obtain a permit, may be unconstitutional. The state had denied many people the right to a concealed carry permit along with a concealed carry firearm. This prohibits them from taking this firearm outside of the house because in order to do one, you need a concealed carry permit. In order to obtain a concealed carry permit, one must have evidence for a reasonable need for protection. This has made it very difficult for many in the state to attain this permit and have access to the right to protection. Hence, the Supreme Court is now working towards a decision on whether this is constitutional or not. As one shifts their focus to the time period that the Second Amendment came from, it is immensely different from the United States that we know today. James Madison proposed the amendment as a compromise between the Federalist and Anti-Federalist groups and made to empower the state, militia, and independent fighters. A Live Science article elaborates that Madison and many of the other framers of the Bill of Rights saw the importance of the amendment after seeing the usefulness of supplying the people of their nation with firearms against the English Empire during the American Revolution. This allowed them to fight the tyrannical government of King George III and the rest of the English Empire. At the time of the Bill of Rights was written, all technology was vastly different from the weapons of the late 18th century. The guns of that time were muzzle-loading, smooth bore, and painfully slow muskets and inaccurate flintlock pistols, as the Encyclopedia Britannica details. Today, guns are nearly unrecognizable with the implementation of semi- and fully automatic firing system, rifled barrels, large magazine capacity, and a great range of calibers loaded into pre-made rounds. The lethality of firearms and the ease of the use has become much easier for people to use and kill. This leads to many to believe that the principles behind the Second Amendment do not ring true today. Guns have become a dividing factor in the country, with some believing that they are dangerous killing machines that are capable of unspeakable atrocities, and most importantly, the ownership should be immensely decreased and almost outlawed. Just as strongly as some hate the Second Amendment, others love it and own many firearms of all shapes and sizes and find them very useful at protection of land and life. If it weren't for the Second Amendment, America could be a drastically different place, and the reality that we could be living in could be unimaginably different. The Second Amendment gives power to the people and protection from each other and the government, and if it weren't for the firearms, who knows where we could be today. Some could even argue that the Second Amendment is among the most important because it is one that was created to protect all the other amendments. While some hate it and some love it, the Second Amendment is a key part in both American history and American society today. Thank you.